What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to 3-Star Draw. I am Down South 77, and this here is an adult collector channel where we primarily talk G.I. Joe, usually classified, but every now and then we'll take a look at some other stuff that I'm interested in, like to have on the shelf, show you guys other things I like. And today we're going to look at something that I've actually had sitting here for a couple weeks now, but it's been crazy with the holidays and trying to be able to film stuff and in and out. So finally getting a chance to sit down and open this up today. Pretty excited about it. This is something that I've been wanting for 40 years now, like no joke. And this is the O-Ring Ghostbusters set. The plasma, I don't know why they call these guys plasma. They call the 6-inch figures plasma. We'll take a little bit better look at the box here in just a minute, but I love this box, packaged like an old school 80s cassette tape. This is something that I really have wanted for a long time when Ghostbusters come out. Of course, huge fan. I was into real Ghostbusters, had a bunch of those, but I was big time into Joe's in 1984. That was, Star Wars was kind of trailing off, and G.I. Joe had taken over full blown by then, along with a couple of other lines here or there that I played with. But I think somebody who never mixed their toys, like that's just something I just didn't do. I just could not mix my toy lines when I was a kid, and that's lasted much into adulthood. But if I had have had 3 3/4 Ghostbusters back then, that is one thing I probably could have found a way to incorporate into G.I. Joe, because they're real people, and we had a couple of episodes of the G.I. Joe cartoon that were kind of supernatural. We actually had an episode that was about Joe's fighting ghosts that Cobra had summoned. So being a fan of the cartoon, I might have could have made that work, but I really wish I had these figures back then. But I got them now. I have the Ecto 1. I've been waiting to get these to put beside the Ecto 1. So let's go ahead and get them out and take a look at them. Curious to see how they feel and how they stand and all that stuff. Before we get these guys out and look at them, I do want to take a look at this box, because this is fantastic packaging. So these are not Plasma Series. They're calling this the Plasma Pack, just this pack of these 4. I was confused about that because I thought they were calling these guys Plasma Series. So that answers that. Seems like they probably should have picked a different name for this set. It is a little bit confusing. So we do have the classic VHS giant box, cardboard box, as most of these tapes come in 1984 when you bought one, especially the retailer copies, like the copy that the stores that you used to rent movies from would get. They'd come in this box that was about this size for the VHS tape. Looks like it's all worn here around the edges. It's not. It looks great. This is actually what some of my new G.I. Joes that come from Target look like. So this actually looks like the VHS tape here on the edge. Fantastic packaging. Kudos for that. So I've not actually looked at these guys yet. I don't know what they look like in person, because it does have a flap, but it is sealed. So see if I can peel that without ripping anything. Usually you can on these boxes. Same type seal that we get with some of our HasLab stuff, and you've seen them before. So they usually come off pretty easily without having to rip anything. So sometimes I do cut them, but thought I'd go ahead and see if we can get it off. It's actually kind of scaring me because it looks like you're tearing it off because of the wear on the box. So let's open these guys up. Man, that's cool. That's just a cool looking set. And you got a little insert right here if you guys want to pause and read that. So it looks like a history of the 40th anniversary, showing a history of Ghostbusters. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It's Hasbro, so there's like 5 languages there. So I guess you really only need to try and read that one up there. But I do like this cool 40th anniversary art. It does show some of the accessories with them. And Winston and Peter in the Ecto, which we will try out by the end of this. So, all right, let's go ahead and get these guys out of the packaging. Now, let's go ahead and get just a little bit more light on. Of course, it's Hasbro, so we got this thing. I think I could wallpaper a room with these little sheets by now. Top tray, there's our 4 figures. That's how they come packaged, and then underneath do have their wands. So I'm guessing the proton packs are, yeah, proton packs come on them already. So I was expecting a big bag of accessories or something or other. So all right, we'll get these guys out of their plastic prison here. Now, of course, we are fighting with these trays now, but I did want to show this because this is worth showing. See this on this accessory tray right here? Trying not to get glare in there. One piece of tape runs down the length of the whole thing and pulls it right out of the tray. Are you listening, G.I. Joe team? One piece of tape. Take out all the accessories. All right, just kind of dump these guys out in a pile here. And on the front tray, you do also get other accessories. You get a trap. Pretty nice paint on it to be as small as it is. And some silver there, got some red. Of course, you got your caution on the top of it. You got your handle. Do get a PKE meter. So the wands on the edges don't move. So it's pretty bare bones, but it does have some nice metallic there on the wands on the ends that move back and forth. And then you get a set of goggles. I don't think they ever completely described what these goggles are. And they're, similar to like night vision or something, but pretty sure they're not night vision. They're the ghost vision. The ghost vision. So let's take a look at one of the random proton particle accelerators that they come with. There's not much to them. You get a little bit of detail there that'll pick up. So they do have a little bit of sculpting in there, but honestly, there's not a whole lot to them. Looks like you got a peg there to peg into the backpack. Looks like that's going to plug into the bottom. And you get, of course, 4. All 4 of these are the same. So let's just grab us a figure here. So this looks like we're going to start with Peter Venkman. Name right there. See if we can get that to zoom in.
He's a sailor. He's in New York. We get this guy laid, we won't have any trouble.
That's not a bad Bill Murray likeness for a 1984 Bill Murray, and in this scale, that actually looks pretty good, in my opinion. I mean, you don't know if you could really do much better with it than this, but it looks like they got it right. Paint looks good on it. Hair looks good. I mean, it's 3 3/4, so it is what it's going to be. Those pegs, ooh, those shoulder pegs and those wrist pegs or elbow pegs, those are some massive pegs, and they are, for the most part, they are painted a different, or they're the same color rather, but I guess the material makes the colors show differently, and it is super reflective. I don't know if those are metal rivets or not. I don't have a magnet in here. I'd check that for you. So we do have O-ring construction on these guys, so let's check out how they move. He is a little bit tight. Do they have? So they don't have wrist articulation and they don't have ankles, so they are not a modern construction. These guys are built, best as I can tell, just like your 1985 to 94 Joes are. Ghostbusters patch there on the sleeve. Let's see, you get a hose running down in his flight suit here on this side. Let's take a look at the proton pack. These are, of course, removable. Nice metal screw in the back, man. Remember those? So I guess these are metal rivets. Maybe that's why they're shiny. Ooh, the other side of those. Look how deep those are. Whew. I mean, what are you going to expect with these guys? So there's the back. Does have a nice big backpack peg. You can see how that is an appropriate backpack peg. That's bigger than a lot of the classified backpack pegs, honestly. So let's take a look at our proton pack here. Keep saying backpack, you know what I mean. Does look pretty good. It's got some sculpting detail in there. Not a lot of paint. You got your 4 red, whatever those are, power accelerators. I do like if you can see the sculpt in there though. Like you have a bundle of wires that actually have a twist in them. There's some really good sculpting in this. I wish it had a little more paint because these things were really colorful. So there's the proton pack. There's Venkman. These guys are all the same buck. They have different heads. So let's look at Ray. Again, same thing on the buck. They're all exactly the same except for their name patch and their heads. So we got Stance. Again, for this scale, pretty good looking Dan Aykroyd.
Something that could never, ever possibly destroy us.
If you didn't know Dan Aykroyd played Ray Stantz, you could probably look at this and say, that looks a little bit like a young Dan Aykroyd. Ghostbusters emblem over on the right sleeve again. Not really much new stuff to really report with these guys. They are all the same. That's a weird grip for the hand, I think. Didn't notice that on him. They kind of, I guess that's probably to hold the front of the wand. They're kind of bent, sort of like that. So let's see. Look at Winston. Good old Ernie Hudson. Got that grin. I love it. And get that Ernie Hudson grin. So look again. Looks like Ernie Hudson. Paint looks good on him. No sloppy apps or anything on there. Eyes look good. Don't see any overspray on the teeth. And he's got his mustache. Did a really good job on these guys, I think. And there's his patch on his sleeve. See if we can focus on Zedmore. Because this is really the important part with these guys. I mean, as long as they're built well, but the head, and you want to make sure that their patches are correct. And then let's look at Egon. Nice Harold Ramis portrait there. I mean, there's not any, you can't look at these guys and not know exactly what they are. So got his logo on the sleeve there. You got Spangler. Looks like the glasses are really thick around the edges there, but I don't know. Maybe his were. I'd have to go back and double check. So all of these guys feel really tight. Like all of their joints, nothing is loose. I mean, it's about like if you were getting a brand new G.I. Joe figure back in the day, or something like a new Delta 17 figure, which I should grab and set over here by them, and I might do that in just a minute. So let's see. Let's give Egon the trap, see how well it goes in his hand. Don't feel like it's going to break. It does go in there tight, but doesn't feel like it's going to break putting it in his hand. So Egon's going to have this PKE meter. See if the handle on this thing is super thick. So just test something. So the hands are flexible. They're not they're not gonna break, I don't feel like, because they do have some give to them, unlike our old Joes. But man, the handle of this PKE meter is really, really thick. So easier to do it up there at the top where the neck of it on the handle is a little bit thinner. So let's see, we need to spin it around. I'm not crazy about the way the hands are, but I guess most of their stuff they're going to be holding out in front of them. So it works, and it stays in there pretty well. You bump it just right, it's going to knock it out. So let's see, we need Ray. Let's see if we can get these on Ray. And I don't remember which end was which, so I don't know if these are actually supposed to go over the head or just on top. This little strap for these things does feel very tight, so don't want to force it too much. I guess I could heat it up. So let's try heating it up and see if we can get it on his head. Hit that with the trusty Conair over here, not the movie, the company, and did get that to go right on there. Just heated up that strap a little bit. So that will go on, or if you want to put it on like he wore them a lot in the movie, especially when they were in the hotel. So it will work. This is going to be something that is very easily lost. So I imagine I will probably put this in the accessory bag. But just to show you, it does go on there. So let's try, since we got old Ray here. Oh, the good old days of these, man, from the old school Joes, these plastic hoses. I never was a big fan of these things. So let's see where proton pack, where this plugs in. Looks like it's going to go in here at the bottom. Okay. Well, that goes in. That's how those plug in. It plugs in quite nicely. I like that style of plug. Getting it out might be another little bit harder problem. So that's how those go in. I was wondering about that. So let's throw Pete's backpack back on him. And the wands do also dock up here at the top. So they really did think of everything for these little figures, I think. So get the proton ghost busting wand in his hand here, which may be easier said than done. The thumb on these guys is kind of weird. And they are very bendy, the wands. Let's see. So it is easier to push in toward the fingers from the inside and push them open that way. That's going to be the best way to do that with these. And see if they can get a two-handed grip on the proton pack. Be nice if, man, it'd be so nice if the wrists swiveled for this. I don't know. It's close. It is doable, but you finagle around with it a little bit, and I think you can probably get it better than that. Man, it's been a while since I've really accessorized up a 3 3/4 figure. That stuff is getting really, really hard to see. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. This stuff is getting hard to see. So real quick, let's see. I got Venkman here. That's Ray. So maybe this glare won't get you too bad. So there's Venkman in plasma. And then here's Egon
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
in the plasma. And we'll just go on down the line here. Trying to do that where that glare is not killing you. I always hate watching stuff and that glare is in the way, but sometimes you can't avoid it. So there's Winston.
We have the tools, we have the talent.
And I like they got the likeness really well on the plasma series too with Winston. Got the mustache and the grin. You gotta have that grin with Winston. And then got Ray back here. When you first go to pick them up, Peter and Ray do look a whole lot alike. So they really got that kind of like Clueless look for Ray with both of these, even with this little figure. They really got that kind of look for Ray. So I like these, man. I really wish I had these guys when I was a kid. Let's grab a Delta 17 and see what they look like. Yeah, that camera might have got weird for a second because I kicked it when I got up. Realized I still had this stupid piece of paper in frame. So if you look real close over here, you can see Commander Shepard. Let's put him up next to Winston there. So you can see they are 3 3/4. Don't look quite as good as Commander Shepard does, but you know, it's what we were expecting. And as far as Joes go, let's see. I think the only one I have close at hand, because he was shotgun in the Ecto, is my poor straight arm Snake Eyes. Same size there. Old Snake Eyes and his poor thumb. Trying to feed Timber a turkey leg and got a little bit too close. So that's how these guys all look. I'm going to take a second, put all their wands on, and then let's see what they look like with the Ecto. Got these guys all geared up here, proton packs on and ready for action. I did play around with Peter. I can't believe I just said that. The Peter Venkman figure here, and looks like that is what you're going to do to get him to hold this thing. You can get a two-handed pose out of it, just barely. He's just barely gonna grab the tip of the wand. But he can hold it that way, so you can actually get him like he's getting ready to throw out a particle accelerator beam to capture a ghost. It can be done. It just takes a little maneuvering, and that's probably about as good as you're going to get with it. Not going to get a whole lot of action shots with these guys, but I do like the fact that you can maneuver it just enough, like I have with Egon here. You can actually recreate them taking it off of the backpack, where they walk in and charge them up and remove the wand from the backpack. You can actually recreate that motion. So I think that's really cool. They did actually put some thought into the design of all of this stuff. For a pretty basic set, I really like it. So let's grab the old Ecto. Doesn't that look awesome? All I did was take the Ecto off the box and set it behind them, and it looks fantastic with them all lined up beside it. I was going to put some of them in it, but I may put them on the shelf just like they're all getting out of it. So when we know, we learned the hard way, or I learned the hard way, that you cannot fit all of these guys into the Ecto 1 at the same time. Learned a hard lesson with my G.I. Joe Doc figure. It's going to be hard to get two of those guys. Winston, man, What do you know? There went, well, you know what? He's gonna die soon anyway. Not Winston, but Doc. Ain't that about a bitch? So I guess if you did that to the other leg, he'd go in there really nicely. R.I.P. Doc's leg. Maybe these guys will be chasing the ghost of Doc's leg. Still hadn't got a new Doc figure yet, by the way. But we do have the gurney that comes with it that the proton packs are supposed to fit on. So let's see if they do. Got this little mechanism down here. So is there some kind of way that they're supposed to hold on? Because it looks like they should clip on. They do rest on there precariously, but they do fit. So that little notch at the bottom right there beside, can't see it. So that little notch right there looks like where the backpacks are supposed to clip onto the gurney. Maybe. Yep. So they actually do clip onto the gurney. So that is pretty cool. You're supposed to be able to line all 4 backpacks up and put them on the gurney. So that's going to take a minute, but I'm going to try it. So yes, after all that work putting Peter's wand in his hand, I took it away from him so I could do this. And yes, they do all fit on there. Okay. All of them but that one. I bumped it. They do fit on there, so what you do is you just take them and you kind of line it up and you push it down on there and it will push it into place. Well, it worked a second ago. So there. That's how you do it. You just line that up, push it down on there, and they do fit. It wasn't a very good demonstration though, was it? Alright, let's try this again. So they do fit in there, but what's happening is the bottom, the loop on the wand is kind of pushing them up. But they do all fit in there, as you can see. I'm not going to turn them upside down this time. Now, I had questions, I remember, when I looked at the Ecto as to whether or not this gurney would stay upright. And it is what I figured. The weight of the proton packs toward the back does keep it upright. But now, you know, note that these do have a bend in them there. So you want to be careful. But just sitting still, like, yeah, they're staying in place. Now, let's see how they fit in the back of the Ecto on said gurney. Let's see. The thing goes in a specific way. I have a feeling it's going to go in, but once you take the gurney out, it's going to start pushing them out. Because the gurney does fit in there and actually has little divots on the bottom that catch the wheels. I just don't remember which way it goes in. So we're just going to try that. So it's not exactly perfect, but it is in there. And you will be able to recreate getting them out, sliding them out of the back on the gurney. And man, this rear door is really hard to open on this thing. So, yep, one popped off. So it kind of works. But I think what you really want is probably going to be the shot of the gurney coming out. Oh, we're dragging Egon along down there. So you'll be able to pull the gurney out. Extend some of the wheels. I'm pretty sure I put those in backwards. But yeah, it knocked them all loose. So you can have them where it's coming out. You can have this collapsed as they're grabbing them off the rack. So I'm not going to put it all back together just for the sake of that. You guys can see that it does work. They do fit in there, but it is a little bit weird. Seems like I'm missing a proton pack somewhere. There we go. All right, now let's see if we can get a couple of these guys inside of it. All right, so something I noticed while putting these guys in there, I was going to put Winston driving and Ray in the passenger seat. You can actually get 3 in the front seat. So you can actually put 3 of the guys in the front seat with no problems at all. Got plenty of room, and I've even got, see Winston's hands. You could get them on the wheel. I was just, for purposes of this, did not try it. So you can actually get all 3 of those guys in. And then here was my issue that destroyed poor Doc when I did my review and was trying to put figures in here. You actually can get a figure in that jump seat if you put his feet out on the other seat there. He's scrunched up, so he's not going to be real comfortable, but he's also not going to move around. So I probably just shouldn't have tried this with 41-year-old G.I. Joe figures when I did my Ecto review. So you can technically get all 4 Ghostbusters in there. I know we did not see 3 in the front seat in the movie, but with a bench seat in this car, it is plenty big for 3 people in the front in real life. So they actually will fit in here. You can throw the backpack on, and whether or not that gurney's going to go in with the backpacks on there, that's something I'm going to have to practice with. But we know you can at least get them on the gurney, and the gurney does fit inside. So I'm going to have to do it again and get some practice in getting those proton packs in there, but it does work. So there you go, guys. There is the Plasma Pack 40th anniversary O-Ring Ghostbusters. I really do like them. They're well constructed. They feel like the old Joe figures. They actually they feel better than some of the old Joe figures, but they are very nice. I mean, they're really basic. You know, you're not going to get a whole lot out of them, but they do feel like the traditional figures that we had as kids, as far as O-Ring 3 3/4 go. Do have a lot of nostalgia for this type of figure without the wrist swivels or ankle swivels or anything. I do kind of wish they'd give them to them just because it'd make it easier for posing with the accessories, but they can hold them. They can get them into most positions that you would want. So I'll get a few pictures of these guys here and throw them in at the end. I recommend picking them up if you're a Ghostbusters fan. They're not going to take up a whole lot of room, and the packaging for them is great, even if you just display them, open the flap there, and display the box. Looks like an old VHS tape. So I do recommend picking these guys up, and they're only $50 for the whole set. So with the 4 figures and accessories and the nice packaging, I think this set is definitely worth it. Again, you know, if you didn't get the HasLab Ecto one, which I didn't, I'll regret it later. I just couldn't do it. It was a horrible time. Pick this one up, and these figures, get this much larger scaled Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from the Real American Hero, the Real Ghostbuster line, put with them, and you can have a nice little display of these guys, and you don't have to worry about breaking much, having a lot in it. If you like the review, guys, I appreciate, hit that thumbs up, hit that like, all that good stuff, and I will see y'all on the next one on 3-Star Draw.
Beat 'em up!
Pick up your phone and call the professionals. Go,
Ghostbusters.